Dr. Reddy, ladies and gentlemen of the poultry industry. First of all, I would like to thank Balram for that very generous introduction and for reminding everybody how untidy I am. Our weather now is out of range, perhaps because of climate change. Our policies have badly failed. All water resources aren't availed, so agriculture's growth is slow. And the only sector that we know with really good growth potential is animal husbandry. And it's essential that this sector should rapidly grow for agriculture to clearly show it can approach the heady growth of the other sectors, as both services and industry are known to grow rapidly. And without growth, there'll be no charm in struggling on at the farm. The demand for meat as well as eggs stands on very sturdy legs. As the population rises and the nation urbanizes, women will work more and more, and so consumption's bound to soar. The people will have time to roam, more meals will be outside the home, more chicken and eggs they will taste. Some vegetarians will make haste to branch out just a little bit, and eggs and chicken will be a hit. And all will find it rather nice that we don't need to raise our price. I don't intend to be rude, but pulses are no fancy food. And yet their price is now so high that truffles too might heave a sigh. Now cereals make for hearty fare. They do provide a major share of calories on the cheap, and protein at a price not steep. Alas, all cereals' nature such, their protein content isn't much. Now pulses have a wee bit more, but not much more, and that's for sure. Indeed, when it's correctly seen as a digestible protein, none of the pulses have a lot. Agronomically, they've lost the plot, as all their yields are very low. Imports have now begun to flow, and yet the prices rise each day. No one seems to know the way to get their yields to improve, for they are stuck in a groove. Few plants that grow in the field have a decent protein yield. The soybean is an exception, but as a food, it meets rejection. Because of its reasonable yield, its protein's cheap while in the field. It's not palatable till modified, not edible till detoxified, and all of this adds to the cost. Much of the benefit is lost. This might lead to confusion, but for a simple conclusion, the answer lies, as we will see, within our own industry. The way forward is innovation. Quick progress is the need of the nation. At Godrej Agrovet, you see, we've invested much in R&D. All our team worked very hard to set up our center, NG card. Now, chicken and egg both provide affordable protein. Just see the slide. The protein content is very high, and therefore it's quite easy to try to achieve balanced nutrition. But with vegetable protein, this mission is indeed much harder to achieve, because you will often perceive the calories or the costs too high, no matter how hard you try. This consequence will naturally flow as their digestible protein levels low. But in animal proteins, it is high. And that, indeed, is the reason why poultry proteins would get my vote. And of course, we should note, in micronutrients they're rich. And taste, of course, is something which the vegetable sources just can't match. Research is on for a substitute. Now, I don't think I can refute that someday, somewhere, we will eat a tasty vegan ersatz meat. For us, all may still not be lost if we focus on the cost. I think this effort will be moot if we are cheaper than the substitute. The egg is an amazing thing, and I, for one, could always sing its praises for its packaged well within its own protective shell, and in it you will surely find nutrients of every kind. It can be cooked in many ways, prepared in minutes, not hours or days. And I don't want to sound contrarian, but sterile eggs are vegetarian. Not just an ordinary view, but rather the considered view of the nation's father. Excuse me, I got carried away on this very special day. We ourselves may be surprised, but poultry is often criticized. Now, cruelty is one dimension, and that's the first I will mention. It's important we take stock and try and keep a happy flock. There is indeed much aversion to our industry's poor conversion, and not the usual FCR, which doesn't really get us far. As our products have much water, in truth, we really ought to measure dry matter FCR. Alas, this is a higher bar. For eggs, it's 8, and meat, it's 5. But the good news is that we can strive to bring these numbers very low. And soon I think we will know how to make our compound feed without the slightest need of ingredients humans directly eat. That indeed would be a feat which would justify our role. This surely is a worthy goal. With layers, this is state of art. For broiler too, to be a part, some more work will be needed. But once we have succeeded, when the price of pulses goes too high, the people then can easily buy either eggs or poultry meat at a low cost. They could eat nutritious food that's a treat, with economics none can beat. For low-cost food, I've made a case, and that indeed should be the base. But the icing on the cake is when you do decide to make products with a value add, with just a very tiny tad of premium, and you'll do swell. Godrej Tyson does this so well. By meeting every segment's need, they have managed to succeed. With eggs, opportunities abound. Many additives can be found. I do believe we can succeed in transforming eggs through the feed. There may be gloom, but we haven't lost, because we know how to slash the cost and yet produce the tastiest food, quite adequately imbued with vitamins, minerals, and protein. And so I think the future scene, if we work with all our might, can indeed be very bright. I do have a few slides which I discussed during the poem, but I'll quickly go through them. And if anyone has any questions, they're free to interrupt at any time or wait till the end. Our industry is already quite big, but per capita consumption, as I'll show later, is still very small, and so we have huge scope to grow. The growth rates have been good and are expected to accelerate. And the same for eggs. I did discuss about population, urbanization, women working. All these factors are going to increase the consumption. But as you can see, per capita consumption is very low in India, and that's where we have the big opportunity to grow. We all know that broiler prices are not always remunerative. I think the solution is that we need to get the cost of feed down, either by GMO raw materials or by using innovative raw materials. Globally, commodity prices have fallen, but in India, because of bad monsoons, we still have quite high prices for corn and soya, and we need to address that. as I said earlier, we have to constantly look for substitutes if our normal ingredients are too expensive. This is our R&D center, and we get excellent results from all our R&D, and I'm sure that many of you have the same experience. I would urge everyone to spend extensively on research. Here you can see that the protein on a simplistic basis cost is very high for tur dal, but actually we have to remember that eggs have every other kind of nutrient, vitamins, minerals, and the concentration of protein, of digestible protein, and the amino acid composition is much better in eggs and chicken. And that is our big selling point, and we need to push forward that the only way of supplying economic nutrition is through our industry. Branding is very important. Not much branding happens in our industry. There's a lot of potential for chicken as well as for eggs. Godrej Tyson has been doing that, and I'm sure as we go on, more and more will happen in India. And that's the way to have a stable profit, unrestricted by commodity price fluctuations. These are some of our products. Thank you.